it shows me connected. Let's see what if it does anything here.
Okay.
That's interesting. I wonder why it's doing that. Oh,
Oh,
no,
there we go.
yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Around Town TV. My name is Carla Berlin, Minnesota's lifestyle and business experts. We've been bringing you and featuring the best kept secrets, businesses, organization, and people since 2003. And we are now the Twin Cities' longest airing television community showcase. And I am so thrilled to have a very familiar face to Around Town over the years, Minnesota's legendary on air TV and radio personality and current master gardener, as well as lead content manager and lead writer for Garton's Garden Center. Please welcome Teri Knight.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Carla. Yeah, and legendary. I don't know. I think that ship sailed, but I'll take it anyway.
No, you are. And I was thinking about all the Instagrammers that watch. They might not know some of us that were on air, for so many years, but hey, we're going to share with them and they'll know after tonight.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Well,
Um,
thank you.
you're welcome. And if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your background briefly for those who maybe aren't familiar with you.
Well, I started in broadcasting in 1992, and I was on air until 2000. Oh gosh, 2020 with KYMN Radio. But I was a traffic reporter for a long time on multiple radio stations, KFAN, K102, WLTE, and then on WCCO TV morning show. We started that in 1996. That was the first WCCO Channel 4 morning show with Dave Huddleston and Heather Tesh, who is now with the Weather Channel and has
Oh,
been
right.
for years. But yeah, it's different. It's what I'm doing now, which I love at Gerton's, taking care of all their social media, the Facebook and Instagram videos. I create those and have a blast with it, and I'm very fortunate.
Well, you and Diana Pierce both are ongoing students, if you will. You're just continue to evolve and pivot with the times, and that's why you're still relevant in the business.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, you have to be able to do that, and it's fun, and it's also good for you to be able to move and do different things and enjoy life.
Well, and you'll appreciate this tomorrow night. Around Town Media is going to record a CEO networking event. It's just a brief event, and the gal and I have been friends for a long time. But she always sees me like this, and she said, "Who's the name of your person?" I go, "It's me." What? I go, "Yes, I edit and I shoot," and she's like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot, but you have to. I say, just explaining, and that's why I can offer my services to certain people and help, just so that I can be a part of that networking too. But anyway, so I just appreciate, really respect what you're doing, and
Thank you.
you're welcome. And a lot of the followers, if you've seen my Facebook posts, you'll know I was just at Gerton's and loaded up, and the neighborhood's been really kind and supportive to all of my goodies. It's like my favorite day of the year.
It's incredible, especially the month of May and even into June. But May and Christmas are unbelievable, um, to be at Gerton's and to see everything. And then I get to go behind the scenes and watch and see the behind the scenes, the production that they do, the greenhouses. We have lots and lots of acres of that, and everything they do is phenomenal. It blows me away every time I wander through there, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so
Oh,
beautiful.
it is. It is. And I don't know what they put in their soil, but my plants last from now. I will throw them away when I leave for Siesta Key at the end of October. They
Yes,
last. I mean, they just do. And
that's
I
what they
just,
do.
yep. And so it's worth it to me, and it brings me joy, and it's my one thing. And so I just love learning from you, which we're all going to get to do tonight, because I
Mhm.
started, Terry and I met for brunch, oh gosh, about a month ago now. And I started asking her all these questions, and I've seen a lot of you asking these questions on the Nextdoor app and in our little neighborhood groupings. And they're the same questions I was asking her. So I thought, well, let's have her on. And if you don't get your questions answered tonight here, please know that, I have her gardenbite.com website in the description of the video, as well as her podcast. She's on multiple platforms, and she is also on the National Garden Bureau website as well. And I have that link in there. But go ahead and ask away. And one of the big questions, and kind of obvious, is we had a warm winter, not a lot of snow. And we know also there's been some climate change. So spring gardening is changing. Let's talk about that.
Well, it is, but I think what I've seen a lot with people is that they have gotten so excited. It's also, you have to understand soil temperature, and you
Mm.
also have to understand frost depth. Now we're out of that now. That's
Mhm.
already taken care of. So this is your opportunity. However, vegetables such as tomatoes and peppers, those you need to wait because they need the heat. They
Mhm.
need the sunshine. And while we've had those warm days, they're sporadic. So you
Mm.
really need to understand, just relax. You can buy the plants, you can keep them in your home in a sunny place, but you do need to give it a couple of weeks. That would be my suggestion for the best success.
Okay.
You have already planted them, and then you do need to cover them at night because we're still dropping down below 40 degrees. If
Mhm.
we stay at 45, that's fine. But the
Mhm.
problem is if you're not going to see those specific warm season vegetables do anything until we get that heat.
Interesting. Well, and a post I've seen on the Nextdoor app specifically, less mow-may versus no mow-may, and why it's better.
Well, there's more research that's been done. So people are understanding that, when a lawn goes to 12 inches tall, which it can do
Mhm.
in the month of May, because we have had showers as well, things tend to explode. And
Mhm.
what's happening is you go all month long, your lawn looks awful.
Mhm.
You may have pollinators, but the fact is, most of the pollinators and the flowers that grow for them, the
Mhm.
weeds specifically, like violas, dandelions, they're short anyway.
Mhm.
So less mow makes more sense because when you wait to the end of May, you go in there to try and mow all that down, you end up with a lot of junk on top. You've got a mat, you need to get rid of that. And the fact is, it looks awful.
Mhm.
And you're not really supporting the pollinators as much as you think. And then what you're doing, you mow it all down, you end up giving yourself an opportunity for more weeds and more bare ground. You're not helping your lawn specifically. Those grass blades,
Yep.
it's not good. So if you keep maintain your lawn at about 4 to 5 inches,
Oh.
that's perfect.
And that's what my guy did. And I noticed, I thought, well, he left it a little long, but it was taller than Mimi.
Yeah. Well, that wouldn't take a lot.
I know. And she was looking at me like, Mom, I don't want to go potty there,
Yeah,
And
it's
I was
fun.
like, okay, but then I'm like, well, maybe she's gonna say no, mommy.
No.
So you're saying we can, but leave it longer and not as often?
Yes,
Oh.
absolutely. And in fact, that's not a bad thing to do throughout the summer because what happens is when we get into a drought, the
Mhm.
blades of grass, those those green pieces, the blades, that's where the sun comes in and it helps the roots. If
Oh,
you are mowing it, and I see people, my next door neighbor does it, mows that down to an inch because he doesn't want to mow often.
oh,
And by midsummer, it looks awful because it's dead.
right, right.
So you want a nice lawn, leave it tall.
Good, good.
Right.
Well, and this one I am already worried about since I did just load up at Girton's the other day on Monday, yesterday. Gosh, it feels like a week. I was up, I was telling Teri, everybody, and a lot of you have seen my post. I was at the airport last evening for the honor flight of there was a World War II vet, there were Korean War vets, and Vietnam vets that had gone on a flight and they didn't get in till late. I didn't get home into bed till almost 2. So a little tired, but phew. But anyway, so one of the things I've been worried about is we have a lot of rabbits and squirrels that like to get into my spring annuals. And Teri, I would love to hear more on a way maybe we can stop them from digging into those pots.
Oh, we can do that, and I'll tell you, it's a perfect product. And in fact, one of the owners I of Girton's, I did a video with him, and he put together these beautiful pots. And then he had this other idea, and he got it from someone else, but it's called Traction Grit, and it's 100% crushed natural quartzite rock, which
Oh,
means there's no chemicals, there's no nothing, it's all natural. And in fact, it's often sold for people to use on their sidewalks in winter or for their chickens,
oh
for
wow.
for what's called their craw.
Uh-huh.
So they'll eat rocks anyway.
Oh,
So it's this traction grit, but what it does is it irritates, it doesn't hurt the squirrels, it irritates them. And they went, oh, come on, this is not
mm.
worth it anymore. So it has really, really helped. And it's so funny because Gino, one of the owners, he's very animated. So he goes, no more squirrels, no squirrels. So it's
And
surprising.
it helps. It helps.
Oh, absolutely, it works. And if you do want something else, you can use I would suggest a organic product called Plant Skid, and that
Oh,
rabbits as well. So
okay.
it's a blood product. It's
Okay.
either a pig or a cow, and it's all natural. It's stuff they get from
Wow.
slaughterhouses and that kind of thing. But it's not going to hurt anything. Pepper, people use that a lot, and that's fine too. But
Mhm.
I think the plant skid, it works longer because
Mhm.
it lasts up to 3 months through rain.
Oh,
Of course,
wow.
the traction grit, easy. And
Yeah.
then you can just mix that right back into the soil.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And speaking of the soil and just the different animals, living in Maple Grove where we had sort of a little forest behind us, but there was animals from turkeys to raccoons to, rabbits to, any kind of bird, where now here I don't have as many trees and like a little forest around me, but I get a different type of animals and the soil is so different, like, different types of clay and I mean, I'm just what, 35 minutes from where I lived, and it's crazy the difference
Yes.
in yeah, in the soil and that sort of thing. One of the things you and I had also we were sort of talking about was pollinator friendly plants.
Yes.
Let's touch on that as well.
Well, the most specific, of course, would be native plants. Those are the best because they work with our native pollinators. And if you go to Gertens.com, look up native plants, you'll find
Okay.
them all. There's one specific that I love, and that is prairie smoke, which is
Oh,
it's actually called a gem, Geum, but it's a wonderful plant. We also have just a number of lots of different natives, and the grasses that we have, the native perennials such as black-eyed Susans.
Mhm.
We have, oh gosh, now I'm
I
losing it here.
yeah.
But there are a lot. So go to Gertens.com, look up the natives. You're gonna find a ton of them. I have Joe Pye weed. Joe Pye weed is fantastic.
Oh.
It's a wonderful plant and it attracts butterflies like crazy. So
Oh, and what's that that attracts the butterflies? Joe Pye
Joe
weed?
Pye weed,
Oh,
yeah, it's
interesting.
wonderful. It's great in the landscape.
Oh,
Mhm.
wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and this next topic that I want to talk about is something that I know I've done wrong, and I can tell. And the owner didn't do this himself, but of this home, but this happens so often is planting trees correctly and the mulching. And I know that no matter what we do in some areas, they're just going to die anyway. But my neighbor and I were just talking about this. And you were talking about a method to trim the roots that was recommended by the University of Minnesota professor. Let's talk about that because I know there's a lot of people dealing with that this spring.
And that's super important. And a friend of mine is an arborist, and her
Okay.
and I actually went to master gardener school together, and then she went on further. But the biggest thing is that people plant too deep. But as far as the roots go, when you first buy that pot
Mm-hmm.
of tree,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna find circling roots.
Oh,
That is a bad thing. You do not want those. Now, they
okay.
used to score them. You take your knife and you'd score them all the way around. Well,
Okay.
what they've found through a lot of research, and Gary Johnson is the professor emeritus, he helped develop a method where all you do, you take a handsaw and you literally slice about a half inch off the sides in a square. And that's how you trim the roots. And what it does is allows them to move out instead of circling around, because what circling does is it literally strangles the tree. But
Oh,
another
okay.
thing that other people do is they plant too deep. So when you buy a tree, there's this hunk that's about this big around. There we go. And it's the crown
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be above the ground, not below it. So when you plant your tree, don't make it look like you stuck a stick in the ground. You need to have that bump at the top, right at the soil level.
Okay.
And then when you go to and dig the hole at least twice as wide. But then you also, when you mulch, I see this constantly. Everywhere I go, I want to pull over and pull the mulch out. It
Too much.
needs, yes. Well, because they create a volcano instead of a
Mm-hmm.
donut. So whenever you're planting a tree or a shrub, plant it like or mulch it like a donut. And that
Okay.
means you need to leave space around about 4 inches out from
Okay.
the tree itself. Okay?
Okay.
Leave it out and then put it around about 3 feet, depending on the size of your tree, and about 3 to 4 inches deep of mulch.
Interrupt you. I
Yes.
think I just got a notification. I'm gonna just go touch a plug. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing like live TV.
Oh, well, that's how it
Yeah. I'm going to.
goes.
Here's what I'm gonna do. Thank God I have a. For whatever reason, I must have an outlet not working.
Okay.
All right, here I go. This will help keep my. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, all of a sudden it said like my battery was gonna die and the battery saver came on, which is why it went low and it was plugged in. So there we go. And
Hi, Mimi.
yeah, Mimi had an appearance too. So anyway, thank you. Sorry everybody for the interruption. Before we get back to it, we had someone say great information sharing. Thanks for all the nuggets of knowledge, Terry.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
So I am sorry for the interruption.
No, that's
Great.
fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the important thing is never bury it too deep. Don't bury the crown. mulch correctly, keep that away from the actual trunk of the tree,
Interesting.
and it makes a huge difference. If you go along any city boulevard, you're
Mhm.
gonna find those trees, most of them, many of them are dying.
Yep.
And it'll be a slow death. I mean, you may find that the tree looks fabulous for 5 years, and it should last at least 30, 40 years, or even more, depending on what you
Something
purchase.
so simple with
It
nobody knows what
is.
they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see professionals doing it. People that go out, somebody buys a bunch of plants and some worker comes out and slaps it together. I see it all the time, and I do. I have often, I'm gonna pull over and just grab that.
What are you doing? So you say to
They're
keep
killing it.
interesting. Well, and I'm going to be mulching. There's just two little areas, so I may be asking you again. Just to
Yes.
make sure I don't kill the good plants that are here. Yet there are some that are dead, and I do think some of it is because it wasn't done correctly.
I'm sure it is. And if you dug that up a little bit, you'd see circling roots. And that's part of the problem too. When you mulch that close, it makes the roots do this instead of go out, which is what they need to do.
So you'd leave
Something else?
away from the roots.
Yes.
Okay.
So, away from the center of the tree, because if it's right there, well
Yeah.
then, okay, then all the moisture is going right there and it's not getting out where it needs to be. But,
Interesting.
and people use rock a lot
Yeah.
because that was very popular.
Yeah.
I don't think, I would urge people not to use rock.
Okay.
What happens with rock is that it absorbs heat
Interesting.
and it makes those roots hot, and
Ah.
that will also kill them. So
Okay.
use wood mulch. If
Mhm.
you use a dyed mulch, that's fine. I prefer a natural look.
So
But
a wood mulch is
yes,
okay.
yes. And one of the really good ones for, I think it's cypress,
Okay.
red cedar. Pardon
Mm,
me.
oh,
Red
yes.
cedar is a very good mulch, especially for roses. And I learned that from our rosarian at Curtains.
Oh, and I love the color of it. Yeah,
Yes, I do too.
just
I
to
do
have
too.
a
And it's
distinct,
natural.
yes, a
It just
distinctive look.
looks beautiful. Mhm.
Yes, interesting. What else haven't we covered that will help
Well,
our viewers?
there was another thing. Oh, yes. There are places now in the cities that are Zone 5A. Now, we have been Zone 4B for a long time, but
Okay.
they recently redid the study, taking a lot more temperature information, and there are definitely a lot of spots, and especially in places like Minneapolis and St. Paul, where there are what they call heat islands.
Okay.
And so those are now Zone 5A, and that means that people can buy Zone 5 plants
Oh,
and give it another option. And one of those is a huge pollinator plant. It's called Buddleia, or also butterfly bush.
oh,
And there are some gorgeous, gorgeous plants. Butterfly bush is very beautiful. Also, something called gems, or commonly called avens, and one of those that I talked about earlier is prairie smoke, which is a native.
mhm.
But we also have, there are cultivars that you can use. Now, as you look to pollinators, natives, of course, are the best. However, there are plenty of cultivars that also take in and provide nectar for our pollinators. And one of the beautiful things, it's called royal purple smoke bush. If you want drama in your landscape,
Yeah.
smoke bush. And
Really?
it's gorgeous. It gets these huge plumes, feathery type plumes that are the
Oh,
flowers.
yeah.
It's stunning. So you can take a look at that. And one other thing that is a Zone 5 plant, and I want to mention this just real quick. I know we're running
Yeah.
out of time.
No, 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 we're not. Yeah, we're
Um,
fine. Yeah.
it's a Japanese maple. And
Okay.
I love the name of it. The name is Wabi Sabi. And the reason I love that is Wabi Sabi means imperfect beauty,
Mhm.
which I just think that's great. But it implies imperfection, but if you look at this thing, it is stunning. It has cascading growth. It's these serrated leaves of the Japanese maple. It can, if you need to have a little space, so it grows 10 feet tall, 10 feet wide,
Mhm.
all these beautiful multicolors. It's stunning. So,
Oh, wow.
one
No,
of
this
my favorites.
that
And if
is
I had room, I would have it.
I bet you. I bet. I haven't seen your yard in a few years. I bet it's gorgeous knowing you. It was back then. Oh,
Well, I've ripped it all up because that's what I do. And
and
then I
it's
go back
fine.
and do something else. I've
Oh,
got somebody coming to clean my house, the outside of my house, my window. So
yeah.
I have to kind of back off and wait until he
Till
gets
they
that
do
done.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's
So that
fun.
that is great. And for those of you tuning in and recognize Teri and remember her both from WCCO TV or even the Light FM with Orly Knudsen and many other radio stations, as mentioned in the description. I've also kept the websites there where her podcast is on multiple platforms, including the National Garden Bureau website. And her gardenbite.com website is listed, but also she is the manager, content manager, and lead writer for Gerton's Garden Center and handles all their social media. So if you're asking questions on those social mediums, she will be the one to answer as well. Or
Yeah.
even connect here. You can private message her and she'll get back to you. But what else, Teri? Have we maybe we have so I mean we could talk for hours, but I mean
We
you're
could
just
talk
about
for
the
us.
knowledge and
But I think the biggest thing is for people to understand that these are living things.
Mhm.
So to keep them alive, you have to assist them. And
Okay.
that means to plant them correctly. And if you have questions, I'm always available. Gardenbite.com, also Facebook, my Garden Bite with Terry Net Facebook page. And you can email me at tkgardenbite, and that's bite.com. I'm more than happy to answer the questions. And another thing is, I think as we continue, our climate kind of moves in a different direction,
Mhm.
to just keep that in mind and to keep the pollinators in mind. And one of the biggest reasons is without those pollinators, we won't have food.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
we really need to take care of that. And that's not just bees. That is the butterflies, that's the birds, that's the everything, because it's all connected. So just keep it in mind. That doesn't mean that you have to plant all natives or anything, because there's so many
Right.
beautiful plants, but to just keep it in mind.
Interesting. Well, and I always like to watch or be around where some of those natives are that draw in the butterflies and some of the just for the beauty, but not
Yes.
even thinking of that. And for those who, to not, we don't talk politics on my show, but um, when we talk about climate change versus global warming, it is proven whatever you believe, the climate changes continually. Like what we just went
Right.
through hadn't happened in 100 years and may not happen for another 100 years, but it will happen. The climate will continually change. So I don't
We've
want
had an ice age. I mean, it's like we know that is a
right,
natural process.
right.
Earth is that it changes.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting now to see what happens this summer from our less snow, no snow, and warm winter.
Right. Well, hopefully, because Minnesota's been in severe drought for some time. These recent rains have helped,
Mhm.
and that is making a difference. But if you look at, like, I can look at the Cannon River here in Northfield, and it dropped considerably, but
Wow.
it's starting to come up, and hopefully we'll see some more rains, and the farmers will still have a dry period so they can get out and plant.
Right.
There's always that balance, you know.
Oh, well,
I
that's yeah,
God
exactly.
bless the farmers, man, 'cause
I agree. I mean, not only for their work ethic and how hard they work and what they provide for us, without farmers, we
we
probably wouldn't
that's
exist.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
thank you for what you do for us.
definitely.
Yes. Oh gosh. Well, I gosh, you know, there's like I said, there's so much we can talk about. You've been a wealth of knowledge. For those wanting to reach out to her, we've given you some. Her websites are listed there to not only listen to her podcast, but to go to her website for tips and more information. And of course, on the National Garden Bureau website as well. And of course, Gerton's. She handles all their social media. She is the content manager and lead writer. So ask away and get over there. If you've not
Yes.
been to Gerton's, it's worth it. But you need to realize it's like going to the state fair.
Yes, it is. Especially the month of May.
Yes, yes.
It's crazy.
It is, but it's worth it if you plan. You just have to plan, and it's
Yes.
worth it. And I am so thrilled, and always, always a treat to have you on the show, Teri. You've been a guest on and off for the past 21 years, and so thank you. I know how busy you are, so I'm just grateful.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. You and I have known each other for, oh my gosh, since 97?
That, yeah, we were at CCO at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, God,
Wow.
and we look the same.
Yeah, right.
You do.
You do.
No, you do.
No, this makes a difference.
Oh, I know. Well, mine are right here, and then I've
So
got my font of my notes at like 18, so I can get by. But and of course, we've been going live on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central Time with different guests, and we're on now almost every Tuesday evening, or we'll let you know if we have to switch a night or skip a night. But been bringing you and featuring the best kept secrets, businesses, and organizations since 2003, now the longest airing television community showcase. We started our 22nd year on air, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, as you know, Teri. And just, you know, we were just talking about this tonight. We just pivot. Broadcast was great for us for many, many years till 2020. And then taking it live, people are like, what are you doing? Or you should start a podcast. And I said, well, we have a following on social media. Let's go where our viewers are. And you all didn't miss a beat. You've been so supportive, and I am so grateful. And I know Teri is too, to be a part of that. Yeah. So
thank you
thank
very
you.
much. And congratulations to you for all that you do. You are the hardest working woman I know.
I think you
No,
are.
I'm serious.
Oh, you're so kind. You're
And
so
you still
kind.
manage to look beautiful. It's like, ah.
Here's all right. I'm taking you out for dinner.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I was angling for.
Yeah, no, it's always great. Well, thank you again, Teri, for being a part of this. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you all next Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Around Town TV. We'll see you then. Bye bye. Oops. Okay, to get over to the end here. There we go. All right.